All right. Question from Evan is up next. Y'all have addressed the difference between steps 6 and 7 of the financial order of operations many times. But what's the difference between steps 7 and 8? How do I know when enough hyperaccumulation is enough? And can you kind of give an overview of what steps 7 and 8 are for people who are new?
I'll give the overview of the steps, and then why don't you talk about how you know when enough is enough. So when he's talking about this, he's talking about the financial order of operations. For those of you who are not familiar with this, it's this idea we came up with. It's this 9-step, tried and true process of what to do with your next dollar.
Where can they get theirs, Bo?
You can go get your free copy of this of our financial order of operations at moneyguide.com/resources to see the 9 steps. You can even do a deep dive if you want to at learn.moneyguide.com. And we basically put down, okay, what do I do with my next dollar? Well, by the time you get to step 6, it's max out your employer-sponsored retirement plan. So that's like 403Bs, 457s, 401Ks. You start maxing those things out. Well, once you've done that, then you get into step 7. Step 7 we call hyperaccumulation. That's where you're hitting your 25% savings goal. That's where you are maxing out the savings that you ought to be doing for the future. And often that's where the third bucket of our 3-bucket strategy comes in. We want you to have tax-free dollars. Those are the early steps. Tax-deferred dollars. That's step 6. And then we want you to have your after-tax dollars or your currently available dollars. That's step 7, hyperaccumulation. But once you're at that 25%, this is where you begin to experience some freedom right now today, because once you've had 25%, then you get to move on to steps 8 and steps 9, which are a little bit more personal preference than prescription.
Yeah, what I like to share with people is so much of steps 1 through 6 is preparing for emergencies. And then even when you get into the saving and investing of 5 and 6, it's driven by tax code in a lot of ways, because you want to take advantage of all those tax benefits. So that's all driven by how do I maximize every dollar I save right now. Step 7 is more about you thinking about how am I going to use this money in the future? I mean, am I going to retire early? Am I retiring at 65? So you can look at those 3 buckets. That's exactly what Bo talked about when he was talking about the after tax, the tax-free, and then even the tax-deferred. So, but we just want you to give thought towards how am I going to use this money? Because everything on the other side of it was how do I save? This is how do I spend in the future? And then that leads to, as Bo just alluded to, step 8, after you've done the homework of thinking about how should my accounts be structured for when I actually need them, you can then graduate to prepaid expenses, or what I affectionately call abundance goals. Because now this is when you think about the kids' college. This is when you think about, do I want to get into rental real estate? This is when you talk about, hey, I've loved driving my Toyota Camrys. I've loved the Highlanders and those things. But, this might be the time that I wouldn't mind driving a Lexus for a little bit. Or maybe I want to have a Tesla, or I want to go on the nicer vacations. I'm tired of just bedazzling my basic life. This is all step 8 territory. And you know what? You can feel completely confident in spending the money on those things because you've already done the work of steps 1 through 7, which not only took advantage of tax savings on those steps 1 through 6, but also got you into step 7 where you're going, man, I'm in a good place knowing how I'm going to pull this money out. And that's why I love the thought process, because it's not only giving you the architecture of knowing what to do with your next dollar, but it's also training you on the mental stuff you need to be accomplishing. So if you're looking, because not only, let me tell you a few cool things we have coming down the pipe. If you go to moneyguy.com/millionaire mission, I actually have a book coming out May of next year that you can pre-order right now if you want to go check that out. But I, like a lot of you, once you're getting to that step 7, 8 decision, especially step 7, you're trying to figure out, when do I want to retire? And what does it matter? Am I saving too much, saving too little to reach those goals? We have a Know Your Number course. If you go to learn.moneyguy.com, you can actually put the variables in and then even have the levers to know if I save an extra few $100s a month, if I change inflation, if I change rates of returns, how is all this impacting my decision making and my plan for the future? You are going to be in control, and we've tried to make this stuff as affordable and approachable because we see it as an acceleration of your success. And we all know the abundance cycle is legit. You can come here and absorb everything you want for free, but I'm trying to help you turbocharge things through writing Millionaire Mission, giving you the courses, because the sooner I can get you to graduate to 7-figure and beyond success, the sooner you're going to become a client of the firm. So it's a full circle benefit for every one of you guys to be successful and be the best version of yourself financially.